Hello there, it's Hayley from SevereWeatherTV.com with the severe weather outlook for June 28th. So what is happening at the moment? We have a new tropical depression 4E, and we still have a different probability zone out there in the Eastern Pacific. In the Atlantic, the percentages have bumped up quite a bit on the probability zone out there, 40% chance at the moment. So we might be seeing soonish Douglas, Elida, and Arthur. Who knows? In the United States, 15% chance for severe thunderstorms today, 45% chance for tomorrow, 15% the day after that. So let's take a look at the map. So over here, this is what is predicted to be future tropical storm Douglas. As of this point, which apparently 20 hours from now is predicted to reach tropical storm status, and that's when it will become tropical storm Douglas. At the moment, it is tropical depression 4E. So this thing, even though the NHC officially says no land hazards per the SMN, they are, previewing, I can't think of what that word is in English, intense rains and very strong rains for some of the areas associated with this system. And then over here, we still have this thing. This may well develop into its own thing later on. 30% chance in the next 48 hours for this system. And then in the next 5 days, 50% chance on that. Then in the Atlantic, with this area that was originally like a 0/10% or something, is now up to 40% chance of tropical cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. And then 60% in the next 5 days. So this, if it did turn into something, would be tropical. Well, if it did turn into something and then reach tropical storm status, would be tropical storm Arthur. Otherwise, it would be tropical depression 1A, I think is the letter E for Eastern Pacific, A for Atlantic. That's what I'm going to go with. Righto, so let's look at some models. Here's from two of the models for the Eastern Pacific. So the ECMWF is expecting Douglas to kind of just be not much of a threat, but then this thing, which would presumably be a leader, to turn into basically a major hurricane. The GFS, the model that tends to overpredict the major hurricanes, shows this thing kind of shaping up into something, and then something shaping up back here. Neither of these looking to be major hurricanes, though, but whether this happens. So who knows? There's lots of disagreement, and these are just two of the many available models. We'll take a look at some more things in a second. Here's the Atlantic. Basically, keep your eye on this area. So this is what could be Arthur. Now, of course, depending on how far north this thing starts, it would probably be extratropical about, I don't know, about that time. I have no idea. So this may turn into something. GFS, nothing really ever shapes up in this area. Just kind of gets started, but nothing really going on. So let's look at some more graphics. This is the specific spaghetti models over here, the track and whatnot, and the intensities over here for what is predicted to be future tropical storm Douglas. So this thing, all of the spaghetti models, at least in this run, showing this thing moving away from land. That's good. Most of the, maybe 50% of the models over here having this turn into tropical storm Douglas. And of course, the official path for this thing from the NHC is saying tropical storm Douglas. Here's what could be tropical storm Elida, and right now it's just a zone of probability. And this thing, of course, if this spaghetti model ends up coming true, this thing could be a landfalling system. So some of these showing tropical storm status, a lot of them showing it tropical depression out here. Nothing in the hurricane range up there. And then in the Atlantic, this thing, so the spaghetti models right now, it's like some of them have it curving back towards land, some of it hopefully having it curving away out into the ocean farther. And then as to intensities, several of these showing it turning into a tropical storm, nothing in the hurricane range. That's at least good. So that could be future tropical storm Arthur, if that were to occur. In the United States, here's an overview of the severe thunderstorm weather threat for the next few days. We'll take a look at that shortly. And here's what is happening at this very moment. So 5 different warnings, 4 for severe thunderstorm warnings all over the place, and then 1 special marine warning down there in Florida. So that is what's happening right now. In general, 2% chance for a tornado today, but for quite a large area. And then, so the bigger threats for today would be the 58 mile per hour and greater winds, which is what this map indicates. And pretty much this map is almost exactly the same, which is the probability for the 1 inch or larger hail. Tomorrow, though, not only is it as high as a 45% chance for severe thunderstorms, but we've got this quite large black hatched area. And this was an area of Nebraska that had these significant tornadoes occur. So, of course, that's a bad thing. However, what it's looking like at this moment, which is good or bad depending on how you want to take it, it's sounding like this black hatched area would be more so for significant winds. Sounds like there is a tornado threat tomorrow, but that is not the main event. It's mostly supposed to be, what did they call it? Swaths of damaging winds, I think is how they phrased it. So hopefully not a significant tornado threat tomorrow. But if it were, so what the black hatched area could indicate is instead of just a tornado of any size, it could be EF2 and greater tornadoes. Instead of hail that's 1 inch or larger, hail that's 2 inches or larger. Instead of 58 mile per hour and greater winds, 75 mile per hour and greater winds. But tomorrow we will find out specifically what the Storm Prediction Center thinks that threat is going to be for. Here's some web pages for additional information. And that is it for today. And stay safe.